Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. On Fridays, we talk about the product owner role in Scrum. We talk about patterns and anti-patterns that relate to ours and the team's collaboration with the product owner. And we've also put together a course to help you navigate that relationship. There's 18 modules, nearly 8 hours of tools, techniques, videos, handouts, presentations you can use to help you and your team work better with your product owner. The course is available at bit.ly/coach-your-PO. All lowercase, all one word, that's bit.ly/coach-your-PO. And now, on to the show, the Product Owner Show. Hello everybody, TGIF as they say. Today's Friday and we have Rafał with us for the last time, but still for one more time. So Rafał, welcome back.
Hi Vasco, thank you very much for having me for the entire week.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure so far and I'm looking forward to this one. So let's dive into it. We'll talk about great product owner later on, but first share with us what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career.
So that's a good question. The worst anti-pattern, I think the one that comes to my mind is about product ownership. So as the name says, product owner should own the product. And the biggest anti-pattern that I found in my career is that product owner was not 100% either aware or able to communicate the products that are under our belt to the entire team and organization. And because of that, it caused quite a few problems for the team and how we were progressing.
So does this mean that the product owner didn't even have a list of the products the team was working on? Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly. So we did not have something like product portfolio. There were different understanding, let's say, what product is. So the question was if the service can be a product. So if cloud, for example, is a service, can it be a product? Of course it can, but it was not explicitly said what is the product and what type of products we are managing. And we were doing something that definitely met the criteria of product, but team did not treat it that way. And because of that, it caused quite a few, let's say, problems that were symptoms of the situation. If you don't have...
Can you describe those for us?
Yeah, so if you don't have product portfolio, for example, you cannot plan for those products that you have under your belt. You cannot create, you will probably miss strategy and a vision, first the vision and then strategy to deliver on those products. What are your goals with regards to the development of those products, where we'd like to be by the end of the year and how we are measuring if we are improving all those products or not. And communicate it clearly, because products have users and, of course, stakeholders, so that you can clearly communicate that, for example, in the next quarter or next year, we are not going to develop any new features for that product because we are busy with any other products that are under our belt. So that was one of the things that really did not help. And also it caused some problems on the team level, as the team, during the one-on-ones that I had with the team members, they said that they feel they are working just feature by feature without any end goal in mind. So where, with all those features that we are working so hard every sprint, where we'll be by the end of this year? So when this, let's say, change will finish and what is the final result? I guess it was in the mind of product owner, but because it was not explicitly said anywhere and explicitly communicated, it did create this kind of uncertainty in the team where we are and when we'll get there.
I would even go further and say that if they are not explicit, we can't even be sure, or we can't even assume that they are clear in the product owner's mind. Right. So you already talked about some potential solutions here. So, illustrating what is the product portfolio, talking about a product roadmap that would include all of the products, not just one product, talking about the vision and the direction of the product and the strategy and the goals, not necessarily talking about the features before we talk about the vision, strategy, and goals. So those are already some tools. In that particular situation, what did you try and how did that work to help the product owner?
So what we did, we finally sit together during the retrospective with the team to discuss what type of products, what are our daily activities and what type of products we are supporting. And by the end of this exercise, we created the list of products. And that's the thing, is that because we did not have earlier open communication about what product is, we end up with a list of components, for example, or parts of the software that in mind of developers, those were products that we were working on. So that was the starting point. And then when we created this list of product, we put some prioritization to the list. And then we identified top 20 priorities for us as we feel responsibility for. And then we clearly communicate that those are our products. And then we start creating the plan and roadmap for where we would like to be in upcoming months. For example,
how did the product owner react to that work?
He was kind of reluctant to that because I guess that was a bit of lack of maturity in that role. So that was first time he was a product owner. He used to be very good engineer. And coming from that perspective, he did not have much, let's say, experience in the road mapping activity. And because no one expected from him clearly that he delivers the product roadmap, he was kind of reluctant to that, waiting for tool to be delivered for him so that he can put everything in the tool, so that tool will reflect that what he is going to do. So that was not easy process to make this happen. And yes, partially it was done, partially what it was not embraced, but kind of forced from the organization, because organization was going through the transformation and there were some expectations that product owner should have this type of deliverables. So finally we get there, but yes, the process was not easy and straightforward.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about this, I think it's important to realize that the product owner's own journey is something that we need to respect. And although we do need to prepare and work with them and so on, it's also important to understand that it might take a while for the product owner to get there. And I imagine you did this from what you just discussed, but of course, I would like to mention it explicitly. It's important to talk not only with the product owner, but the stakeholders, so that the product owner is part of the process, but there's also the perspective of those who are at the end receiving the products, right? So, whatever that might be, sales, marketing, other teams, if it's an internal product and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. So communication, as I mentioned, the communication it's always the key, that we are stating transparently the things where we are going and what we are trying to achieve with that specific change.
Absolutely. All right, so now we turn our attention to the opposite, what might have been the mirror image of this, the best product owner you've ever worked with. Rafał, describe them for us.
So, great product owner that I worked with, he embraced the core value. I like this acronym, core values of product owner. So he did great: communication, organization, research, and execution. And I think that for every Scrum Master, if you work with product owner that embrace those four values, definitely you are working with great product owner. So communication, as I mentioned, I cannot say it enough times that really this helps very much to keep everyone aligned, from stakeholders to users to the team and everyone. So we know where we are going and what are our next steps and the North Star that we are aiming for. With organization, everything was really well organized and aligned with regards to the documentation and how the team was working and delivering work. So he helped us to clarify all the ambiguities that we have with regards to the products that we are working and feature. He also did enough research to provide us with a best options. So he brought challenges to us, to the team, and not the final solutions. So he mentioned that, for example, there are new technologies on the market that we might potentially consider. And the team did it through, for example, some spikes, investigating if this is really a valid option for us. This is something that we should pursue. And by doing this, we were able to deliver on the needs and not on the feature that were requested. So that was really, really great experience having this product owner on board and working together. And yes, execution was on the team level. So we were executing and everything was flying. That was a real pleasure.
I really like how you organize that. Communication, organization, research, execution, and having those in mind, I think they can be great reminders for us. As we work with product owners, as we must, we can go through that list and say, okay, so what do I see? Are there gaps? Can I work with the product owner to either help them with tools and approaches that I already know about, or then together with them define what might be those solutions? I really like how you were structured in that presentation. Rafał, we're getting close to the end though. But before we go, where can we find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
You can find me on LinkedIn as a Witaszek. I reserved my surname as a unique way to find me. You can drop me a mail on Gmail, also witaszek@gmail.com. So I'm a long user of Gmail, as you can imagine. I'm not using Twitter very much, so those are the best ways to get in touch with me.
Absolutely. We'll put those in the show notes so that people can easily get in touch, and why not ask a couple of follow-up questions from Rafał.
Great.
Rafał, it's been a pleasure. So thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you very much, Vasco, for having me. That was a real pleasure. I'm a big fan of your podcast. It really helped me learn many things, and I'd love to see many more Scrum Master to be your listeners, and wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you very much for that. One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. Join us at scrummastertoolbox.com/podcast and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more week full of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.